What is up everyone, my name is Jasper and in today's video I think it's time to finally talk about the website that I recently sold. So I've been mentioning this website a couple of times in my previous videos where I said I have finally sold the site. And today I think it's time to look into the numbers and the whole sales process behind it. Now mind you, this is the very first site I've ever sold. I have never bought a site either. So this whole world of selling and buying sites is entirely new to me. But with that said, I can show you what I've done and what happened surrounding my sale. And of course, I can also show you the numbers of the sale itself. So before we dive into all of the numbers, let's just take a look at how much the site is actually sold for. And that's a total of $1,150. Now in the end, this isn't all that much money. I was hoping to sell the site for around $2,500. That never really came of it because, well, this site just kept dropping and dropping in earnings. So ever since the time I started to monetize this website, which was all the way back in January of this year, the page views have stayed really consistent. I'm pretty sure I've seen the exact number, almost the exact number every single month. But the earnings, they just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. So every month that went by, this website was worth less. So the $2,500 was never a logical or reasonable number anymore. So for $1,150, I'm really happy to have sold this website. And I'm very excited to see what the new owner is going to do with it. I've been in contact with him and he did tell me that I can make a follow-up video on the site in like a year or so to show the new numbers and see what he's done with it. So that's going to be really exciting. So for now, let's just dive into all of the numbers and see what made the site sell for $1,150. So here we are in one of my sheets, and this may look familiar if you also read my income reports on my website, jasperpietersen.com, because this is where I take my screenshots of the overall numbers. Now right now we're in this particular site's sheet, and these are the numbers for the entirety of 2022. So as you can see, for October and for December and November and stuff like that, there's no longer going to be any numbers. But this is what the site looked like from January to August, when was the last time I owned this website. So as you can see, the total article count is at 40, and I never added any articles after. So this website stayed at like 40 articles for I believe 1.5 years. It still only has 40 articles, I believe. But yeah, so this one was never really updated, which explains this right here. You can ignore the 7,000 here because this niche was a bit seasonal during December and January for whatever reason. This niche did pretty well in page view numbers, but other than that, you can see like it's always hovering around the 5.4 thousand to around 6,000. So if we take an average, it's going to be around 5.7, 5.8 thousand for the 6-month average. So that is it for the page views. I mean, we can even calculate the 6-month total. So we do. And then we take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So this is the total in the 6 months. Then we take that and divide it by 6. And then you can see, yeah, 5,782 page views on average every single month. The page views though isn't really the most important part. The most important part is the income. And as I said, the income just kept dropping every single month. So right here you can see January, which is the first month I monetized this site. And I only did this after about 1.5 weeks into January. So this isn't even an entire month. Still, we had a $42 income, which is of course really nice. But then things dropped. So this drop here is explainable by the page views dropping as well. But right here you can see 5,600 page views a month. That is about the average for this website every single month. And it's February, so it's a couple days less. Still, the income was $33, which is again pretty respectable. But then as months go by, you can see it dropping here, then it drops here, then it drops here. This is actually the only month, June, where I didn't drop in income, despite the fact that May had much better page views numbers. Anyway, this is still a mystery to me. You can see the very first month I monetized in January, which is supposed to be the worst. I had an income of $42. And then in August, it was an income of $15, almost $16. It is incredible to me to see that this can happen. I still have no explanation. I talk with the people over at Azok a lot of times. They basically, I ask them the question, why is my income dropping? And they basically respond with a version of, your income is dropping. It was really not much of a help, but anyway, we can take the 6-month average for this one as well. So we do the same, take the last 6 months, then we divide that then we divide that by 6, which is a $23.93 average income for the last 6 months. And that comes down to a multiple of 48, which is a really high multiple when you come to think of it. Especially seeing that the income is actually dropping. I do have to say that this site does have a lot of potential. I only have 40 articles and that's spanning one category. But yeah, even this category alone can have like 400, 500, maybe even 1,000 articles. And then there are so many subcategories that, I mean, this can be a massive website. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, the 48 multiple, we times it by the 6-month average income and you basically have the same number. So that leaves me at a 48 multiple, which in my opinion is really, really nice. So why do I actually want to sell this website? Well, I've talked about the site a lot of times, but since this is the dedicated video for the sale, let's just go over it one more time. This was a site that I just did not work on anymore. As you can see, there was only 40 articles on the site and it stayed that way for over 1.5 years. I just didn't work on the site. It was sitting there in the background and every single month this site was becoming less and less valuable. I went over this just now when I showed you guys the income. It just kept dropping. So for me, it kind of made sense to just sell it off. I didn't want to work on it anyway. It's currently at a number where I can still recuperate all of my costs and at least break even. And the number is still low enough for someone like the buyer to come along and see some potential in it. I also just didn't really have any plans for this site. As you guys know, I'm in a bit of a rough spot right now. Every single site that I start just happens to drop because the core updates come along. It's pretty insane. Most of my sites just keep dropping and dropping. There's one that's doing really well right now. And then there's this one that has stayed pretty consistent over the course of 1.5 years. So I just didn't want to pour any more energy or time or even money into this website because I have my hands full with other projects. So of course I made a video where I was talking about how I'm preparing the site for a sale, and it basically meant that I'm just going to put on Ezoic ads and see what this website will make so we can determine that 6-month average income. So I did that and then I made a follow-up video on that, and out of those videos I actually got contacted by a lot of you guys. So one of the guys actually contacted me back in April about this website if I was still willing to sell it. Back then I wanted to sell it for the $2,500, which would come down to a multiple of 71. Obviously he said no, that's just too much. But then I made a follow-up video a couple of months ago and he reached out to me again. So we renegotiated. I was a little bit more realistic this time and yeah, we came down to a total of $1,150. Now the great thing about setting this website privately or directly is that I now have no broker fees. The sale itself went through fine. The number wasn't too high where we both felt uncomfortable with doing this privately. I mean, $1,100 is a lot of money, but it's not like if you sell a website for like $50,000, $100,000. So the sale went through privately. I have to say, this guy, he really put his weight because I had no idea how to transfer a website or a domain. I have never really done it. I was willing to look into it, of course, but he kind of walked me through it. He did most of the back-end stuff and the sale went just really smoothly. There was one issue with the Ezoic name servers and stuff like that, but that was resolved really quickly. So right now the site is in the hands of the new owner. I no longer have access to it and I really haven't had access for like 1.5 months. This sale happened quite a while ago, but yeah, overall I'm very happy to say that this site is finally off my hands and I'm really happy to see that it now is a new owner that actually wants to do something with the site. So my plans with the money that I got is basically to I'm not going to spend it right now. I do really want to spend most of it before the end of the year just so I can save on taxes, but right now I'm just leaving it there. As you guys know, my website just keep getting hit by core updates, so I'm a bit hesitant to keep reinvesting into new content because it doesn't really deliver an ROI that I feel comfortable with. I'm really just hoping that there's going to be another core update sometime this year where the accessory side at least is going to bounce back because I think it's really undeservedly hit. Other than that, I'm just going to keep the money. I might just pour it into content for a new site. I mean, the home site is doing really well, so maybe that's where it's going. But yeah, I'm actually pretty happy that I sold the site, not only because I now have some more money, but mostly because this was a strategy I never really thought of. I mean, I thought of it, but I never really done it. So the entire selling strategy is something I want to look into more. This is something I have been thinking of ever since the very first core update hit me. I know that I could have sold my beauty site for like $400,000, $500,000 at the time, which is incredible. I did not do that. Then it got hit by a core update, and right now it's worth like a shell of what it was. I think I can still get a pretty decent number for it, but nothing nearly as much as the other numbers that I just said. So I want to incorporate selling more, and I think this is one of the most difficult aspects, because when do you actually sell? It's the same question with stocks or crypto or anything. It's like, when is the best time to sell? And I think we'll never really know when the best time is to sell, but it is something I want to learn more about, and I'm going to learn more about because it's something I want to incorporate more. Anyway, I'm going to ramble right now, so I'm going to end the video off here. I really hope you enjoyed it or maybe learned something from it. Other than that, I really want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.